My hands are tied behind a tree and I can't get them loose. The rope is new, the kind that tightens when you pull. I've been working at it for maybe 10 minutes and all I've done is cut into my wrists. No radio, they took that first. No trail, they walked me off it 40 maybe 50 yards into the brush before they tied me here and left. And they're coming back. I don't know how long I have. I heard the engine maybe 5 minutes ago moving away through the trees, which means it could turn around any time, which means I need to get free right now and I can't. The sun is already brutal. There's no shade except the tree at my back, and the jungle has gone quiet in that particular way it goes quiet when something large is nearby. I go still. The grass to my left starts moving. Not wind, wind moves everything at once. This is different, one stalk at a time, in a line, slow and heavy and coming straight toward me. I press back against the bark. There's nowhere to go. I can't run, can't climb, can't do anything except watch that grass move and wait to see what comes out of it. Then he steps through. A silverback, massive, knuckles to the ground, shoulders wider than I can stretch my arms. He stops at the edge of the clearing, maybe 12 feet away, and he looks at me. And he doesn't run. That's the thing that doesn't make sense. Every wild animal I've ever encountered at close range has one of two reactions. It attacks, or it leaves. This one does neither. He just stands there, breathing, looking at me with those dark eyes, completely calm, like he's seen a man tied to a tree before. Like maybe, and this thought hits me hard and fast, like maybe he has. I don't move, I don't speak. I know enough about gorillas to understand that the wrong gesture right now ends everything. So I stay still, and I let him look. He takes one step forward, then another. His eyes drop from my face, down to my hands, down to the rope around my wrists, and he goes absolutely still. Not the stillness of an animal deciding whether to charge, something different, something I don't have a word for yet. He's looking at the rope the way you look at something you recognize. My heart is going so hard I can feel it in my throat. The sweat on my face is cold now despite the heat. I want to say something, I don't know what, but I keep my mouth shut because I don't want to break whatever this moment is. He takes one more step, reaches out, and touches the rope. Not me, the rope. One finger, then his whole hand wrapping around it, testing the tension, feeling where it's pulled tight against the bark. His grip is unhurried, deliberate, like he's trying to understand something. I'm not breathing, because now the question isn't whether this animal is going to hurt me. The question, the one that's making my entire body go cold, is whether he understands what he's holding, whether he knows what it means. And then before I can find out, from somewhere past the tree line, maybe a quarter mile out, an engine, low, growing. The gorilla hears it, his head lifts, his hand stays on the rope, and he doesn't move away from me. He moves closer. He's still holding the rope when the engine sound gets louder. I can hear it clearly now. Not one vehicle, two, moving through the brush maybe half a mile out, but coming this direction. I can tell by the way the sound stays constant instead of fading. They know exactly where they left me. The gorilla's hand tightens on the rope, not a squeeze, more like a grip finding its position, like a man picking up a tool he knows how to use. I watch his face. His jaw is set. His breathing has changed, shorter now, through the nose, the way an animal breathes when it's calculating. His eyes move between me and the direction of the sound, back and forth, and I get the distinct feeling that he is doing something I have no framework for, that he is making a decision. Then he pulls. Not hard, not yet, a test pull, slow and deliberate, feeling where the rope gives and where it doesn't. The bark bites into my wrists and I bite down on the sound that wants to come out of my throat. He feels the resistance and stops immediately, adjusts his grip 3 inches to the left, closer to the knot, pulls again. This time I feel something. Movement, small, barely anything, but the rope shifts against my left wrist in a way it hasn't moved in the last 10 minutes of me fighting it alone. I don't say anything. I don't react. I'm terrified that if I do, if I break the concentration he seems to have settled into, he'll stop. So I just wait. The engine sounds are closer now. I can hear the terrain in them. The way the pitch drops and climbs tells me they're moving over uneven ground, working through the brush rather than following a trail. Maybe 10 minutes out, maybe less. The gorilla pulls again, harder this time. The knot doesn't give, but something else does. I feel the loop around my left wrist loosen by maybe half an inch, enough that the rope is no longer cutting, enough to feel like progress, which is the most dangerous thing in a situation like this, because progress makes you hope, and hope makes your hands shake. Mine are shaking now. He stops, looks at my wrists, then at my face. I don't know what he sees there, but he makes a sound, low, almost below hearing, more vibration than noise, and goes back to the rope. Then the knot tightens. I feel it happen, and my stomach drops. He's been pulling from one angle, and the knot has responded the way new rope does, cinching instead of loosening, redistributing the tension somewhere I can't reach. My left hand is going numb. The progress we had, the half-inch of give is gone. He feels it too. He stops pulling, sits back on his haunches and looks at the rope with what I can only describe as frustration. Not an emotional display, not anything dramatic, just the specific stillness of a creature that has encountered a problem and is thinking through it. The engines are loud now, voices too, carried on the air, words I can't make out but a tone I recognize, casual, unhurried, men who don't expect any surprises when they get back. I shift my body. It's instinct more than strategy. I rotate my left shoulder forward, trying to show him where the tension is, where the rope is pulling tightest against the bark. I don't know if it means anything to him. I don't know if this is the most useless thing I've ever done. He watches me shift. Then he moves, not to the same spot on the rope, to a different one, 6 inches lower, where the line runs between my wrists before it goes back around the trunk. He wraps both hands around it this time. Not one finger testing, not a slow, deliberate pull. Both hands, full grip. He pulls hard. The sound the rope makes is somewhere between a creak and a crack, the sound of fibers under real load, and I feel the whole thing shift at once, not just the loop around my wrist but the entire length of it, like he's found the one point that controls all the tension, and he's putting everything he has into it. My left arm comes half free, not fully. The rope is still around my right wrist, still around the trunk, but my left hand is out, and I can feel my fingers again, and I can reach the knot now with my free hand if I can just get 30 seconds. Footsteps, not the engine. Footsteps, close maybe 80 yards, moving through the grass with the particular rhythm of men who aren't trying to be quiet, because they don't think they need to be. The gorilla hears them. He stops pulling, and for one terrible second I think he's going to leave, that whatever instinct brought him here is going to be overridden now by the older and stronger instinct that says get away from humans, get away from the sound of them, disappear back into the grass and leave this stranger tied to his tree. He turns his head toward the sound. His shoulders rise, and then he turns back to the rope and pulls harder than he's pulled yet. The rope snaps against the bark. My right wrist burns. He's breathing hard through his nose now, quick short breaths, and his eyes are moving fast between the rope and the direction of the footsteps and the rope again, and I realize something that makes the hair on my arms stand up straight. He's not leaving. He's racing. He knows how much time there is, and he is working against it, and for the first time since this started I feel something I have no right to feel yet. I feel like I might actually get out of this. Then the footsteps stop. Voices, sharp now, surprised, maybe 50 yards out. They've seen something. The gorilla releases the rope, stands up to his full height, and takes one slow step forward, not toward me, toward them. They see him before they see me. I know this because the footsteps stop completely. Not the gradual slow of men being cautious, but the sudden full stop of men who have walked into something they didn't expect. 50 yards out, maybe less. The voices cut off mid-sentence, and the jungle fills back in around the silence, birds and insects rushing to cover the gap the way water fills a hole. I use the time. My left hand is free and shaking, and I get it to the knot while the gorilla stands between me and the sound of them, his back to me, shoulders up, completely still. The knot is tight, tighter than before, cinched down by everything he pulled, and my fingers aren't working right yet, the blood still finding its way back into them, the tips numb and clumsy against the rope. I work at it anyway. I don't have a choice. One of the men says something, low, to the other one. I can't make out the words, but I know the tone. It's the tone of a man recalibrating, of a man who came back expecting one situation, and found a different one entirely. The gorilla doesn't move. He's standing the way silverbacks stand when they want to be understood, not aggressive, not displaying, just fully, completely present in a way that takes up more space than his body should. His weight is forward on his knuckles, his head is up, and there is something about the way he holds himself that communicates something older and more direct than language, something that says, I am here, I am not leaving, and you need to think carefully about what you do next. I get one strand of the knot loose. The footsteps start again, slower this time, deliberate, the sound of men who have made a decision but aren't sure about it yet. I hear grass bending, a branch pushed aside, the wet sound of boots in soft ground. They're moving around him, trying to get an angle. The gorilla pivots, just his upper body at first, tracking the sound, then his whole frame shifting to stay square to the movement. He knows what they're doing. I don't know how he knows, whether it's something learned or something older than learning, but he adjusts without hesitation, without confusion, like he has done this before. I get another strand loose. The rope is still around my right wrist, but there's play in it now, real play, and if I can just get the loop over my hand. A voice, Loud this time. One of the men testing, I think. The way you shout to see how something reacts, whether it charges or retreats. It's not a word. It's just sound. Sharp and sudden, and designed to startle. The gorilla doesn't startle. He answers. Not a roar. I want to be specific about this because the word roar doesn't capture what a silverback sounds like when he decides to speak. It starts in his chest. A deep percussive sound, almost mechanical, that you feel before you hear it, and it builds through his throat into something that isn't loud so much as it is large. The kind of sound that has weight to it, that lands on your sternum and stays there. The birds go silent. Everything goes silent. And in that silence I hear something I wasn't expecting. Footsteps. Moving backward. Not running. Not yet. But retreating the way men retreat when they're trying to save face, and also put distance between themselves and something they have suddenly reconsidered. My right hand comes free. I don't stand up. I go sideways. Low, fast. The way you move when you don't want to present a profile, putting the tree between me and the direction of the voices. My wrists are bleeding where the rope cut in, and my left shoulder is singing with pain from the angle I held it at. But none of that matters right now. What matters is the grass 20 feet to my left, thick and tall. The same grass he came out of, and the fact that I am no longer tied to anything. I look at him. He's still facing them, still holding that ground. His breathing is audible now, big controlled breaths, the kind that precede effort, and his hands are pressing into the earth, knuckles down, weight forward. He hasn't looked back at me. But I think he knows I'm free. I think he knew the moment the rope came off. One of the men says something again, closer now, which means they've stopped retreating, which means they're working up to something, finding their nerve, and I understand that the window I have is exactly as long as he can hold their attention and not 1 second longer. I move, low and fast through the grass, pushing through the stalks with my forearms, trying to generate speed without generating noise, which is almost impossible, but I'm trying anyway. The ground is soft and uneven, and twice I go down on one knee and come back up without stopping. Behind me I can hear the voices getting sharper, the tone changing from caution to agitation, and then I hear him again, that chest-deep sound, and the voices pull back. He's buying me time. I understand this in a way I can't fully articulate even now. He is standing in that clearing between me and men who have guns. I saw the rifles when they took me. I know what they're carrying, and he is making himself the thing they have to deal with before they can deal with me. Not because I told him to, not because anyone trained him to, because he looked at a man tied to a tree and he made a choice, and now he's seeing that choice through to the end. I hit the tree line. Real cover now. Trunks thick enough to put between me and the clearing, undergrowth dense enough to swallow a person whole. I push 20 feet in and stop with my back against a strangler fig and let myself breathe, just for a second, just long enough to get my bearings. From back in the clearing, silence, then footsteps, cautious, moving in my direction. Then, that sound again, bigger this time, fuller, the kind of sound that doesn't ask anything of you. It just tells you something is true, and what it is telling these men, right now, in plain and ancient language, is that this is as far as they go. The footsteps stop. I don't wait to hear what happens next. I move deeper into the trees, navigating by the angle of the light through the canopy, heading west toward the reserve boundary, where I know there's a road, and where I know if I can get there, I can flag down one of the patrol vehicles that runs the perimeter in the early afternoon. Behind me the jungle is quiet. Not the quiet of before, not the waiting quiet that came before he stepped out of the grass. This is a different quiet. The quiet of something resolved, of a confrontation that ended the only way it was ever going to end once he decided to stand in it. I don't hear the men following. I don't hear anything except my own breath and my own footsteps, and somewhere above me, high in the canopy, a single bird starting up again, that particular species that always sings after the danger passes, as if it knows, as if it has always known, exactly when it's safe to make noise again. I keep moving. My wrists are bleeding down into my palms and my shoulder is bad, and I'm running on something that isn't quite adrenaline anymore, something quieter and steadier, that I think might just be the pure animal need to get somewhere safe, the same thing that makes a wounded deer walk for miles before it lies down. I don't let myself think about him yet. That comes later. Right now I just move. The trees thin out. Light gets stronger. And then through the last of the undergrowth I see it. The red dirt of the reserve road. Wide and flat, and the most beautiful thing I have ever seen in my life, cutting through the brush in a straight line toward the east checkpoint. I step out of the trees. I stop, and for the first time since they tied me to that trunk I stand completely upright, in full sunlight, with nothing behind me and open ground ahead, and I let myself understand that I am out. I am actually out. My legs want to go. I won't let them. Not yet. I turn back once. back toward the tree line, back toward the clearing I came from, back toward where I left him standing between me and men with rifles, and I stand there for a moment and I just breathe. The jungle sits there, dark and dense and full of everything that lives in it, giving nothing away, the way it always has, the way it always will. I turn back to the road and I start walking. The patrol vehicle finds me before I reach the checkpoint. I hear it before I see it, that familiar diesel rattle coming around the eastern bend, dust rising behind it in the dry morning air. It slows when the driver sees me on the road, stops completely. The door opens and Marcus, one of the younger rangers, been with us about 2 years, steps out and just stands there for a second, looking at my wrists, at my shoulder, at whatever my face is doing, and says nothing. Sometimes the people who know this work best say the least. He gets me into the vehicle, hands me a water bottle without being asked, gets on the radio while I drink, calling it in, giving coordinates, using the calm measured language we all train ourselves to use on the radio no matter what we're actually feeling. I listen to him talk and I look out the window at the tree line moving past, and I try to locate myself in time, to understand that 20 minutes ago I was tied to a tree, and now I'm not. It takes a while for that to feel real. Back at the station they clean my wrists and look at my shoulder, bruised, not dislocated, which is better than it felt out there, and I give my account to the reserve director, a woman named Sandra who has been running this land for longer than most of her staff has been alive. She listens without interrupting, which is her way, and when I finish she looks at me for a long moment and asks me to describe the gorilla again. I describe him. She nods slowly, doesn't say anything right away, walks to the window and looks out at the tree line the way people look at things they've been thinking about for a long time. Then she tells me his name. They call him Kazis. The local staff gave him that name years ago. It means born in difficult circumstances in Swahili, which I'm told suited him from the beginning. He lost his troop when he was young. Poachers moved through that territory about 6 years back. Same operation we'd been tracking for the better part of a decade, and Kazi was separated in the chaos of it. Spent almost 2 years as a solitary male before the reserve team began documenting him moving through the eastern corridor on his own. He'd been seen near poacher activity before, Sandra tells me. Not attacking, not fleeing, just present, watching, as if he understood something about the dynamic, about who was doing what to whom out there, in a way that went beyond simple animal wariness. I sit with that for a while. The operation moves fast after that, the way these things do when there's enough evidence and enough will behind them. The 2 men are picked up by mid-afternoon. They'd gone back to their vehicle when Casey wouldn't let them through, apparently, which meant they were still in the area when the reserve security team came in from the North Road. They're in custody by the time the sun starts going down. Part of the larger network we'd been building a case against for 3 years, the kind of operation that doesn't end with 2 arrests, but 2 arrests is a start, and sometimes a start is everything. I don't sleep well that first night. Not from fear. The fear was gone almost as soon as I hit the road, burned off by movement and sunlight, and the particular mercy of having something practical to do. What keeps me awake is something else, something quieter and harder to name. I keep coming back to the moment his eyes dropped from my face to the rope. That specific shift of attention, the recognition in it, the way he moved to the rope and not to me, the way he seemed to understand the difference between the man and the thing restraining the man. I've worked with animals my entire adult life. I understand on an intellectual level that gorillas are profoundly intelligent, that they use tools, that they grieve, that they form bonds that last decades. I know this, I've known it for years, but knowing something and having it reach through a rope and touch your wrist are 2 different things entirely. I go back out 3 days later, not because anyone asks me to, not as part of any protocol or debrief or therapeutic recommendation. I go back because I need to see the place again in daylight, with my hands free, and because there is an older and less rational reason that I don't fully admit to myself until I'm already back on the Eastern Ridge Trail with my boots in the same red dirt and the same birds in the same canopy overhead. I'm looking for him. I won't call it anything more than that. I'm not expecting anything. I don't have food. I don't have any of the things you'd bring if you were trying to draw an animal to you. I just walk the eastern corridor slowly, the way I've walked it 1,000 times, and I look at the tree line the way you look at something when you're hoping for something but trying not to need it. An hour passes, maybe more. The jungle does what the jungle does, gives you sounds and shadows, and the constant sense that things are moving just beyond what you can see. I find the tree. I recognize it by the rope still on the ground at the base of it, coiled where they must have dropped it when they tied me, and I stand there for a while and look at it without picking it up. There's a mark in the bark at wrist height where the rope pulled tight. I run my finger across it. A small thing. The tree will absorb it in a season or 2 and you won't be able to find it. But right now it's there, and I stand there with my finger on it, and I think about what it means to be held in one place and then not held anymore, and what it costs the thing that cuts you loose. I hear him before I see him. Not footsteps this time, just that shift in the air, that particular quality of attention that the jungle takes on when something significant is nearby. I've felt it 100 times and I've never been able to explain it to anyone who hasn't felt it themselves. It's not a sound, it's more like the absence of the sounds that were there before. I turn slowly. He's at the edge of the clearing, the same place he stood 3 days ago, at the boundary between the tall grass and open ground, watching me the way he watched me then. Calm, unhurried, those dark eyes moving across my face and then down to my hands that are empty and untied and hanging loose at my sides. He looks at my wrists. I don't know what he sees there. The marks from the rope are mostly faded now, just faint lines, barely visible. But he looks at them for a long moment the way he looked at the rope itself, with that quality of attention that has nothing casual in it. Then he looks back at my face. We stay like that for a while. I don't move toward him. I don't speak. There's nothing I could say that would mean anything to him, and there's something in that, in the complete absence of language between us, that feels appropriate. Like the only honest response to what happened out here is silence, like words would actually make it smaller. The morning light is coming through the canopy at a low angle, the way it does in that hour before the sun gets high enough to flatten everything, and it catches the gray on his back, that ash-colored silver that gives his kind their name, and for a moment he looks ancient in the truest sense of the word. Not old, ancient. Like something that was here before the words we use to describe things, and that will be here after. He holds my gaze for another moment. Then he turns. No drama in it, no ceremony. Just the unhurried pivot of an animal that has somewhere to be, moving back into the tall grass with that rolling knuckle walk, the stalks closing behind him one by one, until the last of him disappears, and the clearing is just a clearing again. Empty and quiet and full of light. I stand there for a long time after he's gone. I think about what it means to be in danger and have something choose, not be trained, not be commanded, not be conditioned into it, but genuinely choose, out of whatever it is that lives in a creature like that, beneath the instinct and the biology and the million years of evolution that told it to stay away from humans and their ropes and their trouble. He didn't help me because I deserved it. He didn't help me because we had a history, or a bond, or an agreement of any kind. He helped me because he was there, because he saw what was happening, and because something in him, something I don't have the language for and maybe nobody does, decided that it mattered, that I mattered. I walk back to the road in the full morning light, birds loud in the canopy above me, the jungle alive in every direction, and I carry that with me the way you carry the things that change you, not in your hands, in the place where the rope used to be.